Previously on AFTN.
Was it not Reina who tried the... what do you call it?
Oh, a little chip, and it was headed off the line.
It wasn't off that, but there wasn't one of the... What do you call those?
I don't know what you're doing with your feet.
The Rabono. Didn't he try a Rabono? You know where you flick your
the guy from U2.
Hang on, I'll show you.
Oh, boy. Be careful.
No.
We're not supposed to break the equipment.
You know, we're on the radio. You demonstrated
this is for you, Michael.
Hi campers, and welcome to another episode of There's Still Time, the AFTN soccer show on CITR Radio, broadcasting from the unceded Musqueam territory at the University of beautiful British Columbia. If you're listening to this show on the podcast, this is episode 289. I'm Michael McCall.
I'm Steve Pender.
And I'm Joe Deasy.
And we have no Zachary Adam Meisenheimer this week. He's having a well-deserved anniversary break with his wife. He will be back next week.
He broke up with his wife?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's celebrating the anniversary.
It's one way to celebrate an anniversary.
Yeah. Then you have two anniversaries.
True. I think a lot of people would have anniversaries of that kind of breakup.
Oh. No, they're all good.
Yeah.
They're having fun together.
Yes. Let's not start the show in a downer. A lot of Whitecap stuff to talk about. Before we get going, though, because we have Joe with us, Joe does our preview show. He has a great little thing when he's hosting that, complete the sentences. So I thought I would just nick that for this, give Joe the chance to be on the other end of it. So here's 3 sentences for us all to complete. Number 1. The Whitecaps' draw in New York was...
Me first?
Whoever.
Typical to the fact where they come in with a really team that you're not expecting much. They go into it.
Well, he was injured, so yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. But you're not expecting anything coming from points wise, and they go in there, and sure they give up like a scary goal here and there, like similar to Dallas last year, where they went in with a really horrible team.
Or Kansas, when Hurtado got that goal.
Yeah, you were talking about that in the preview show.
It feels like it's typical that they would do something like this where nobody was expecting anything, and they come out with at least a point.
Yeah, I'm going to go for unlikely for my word. I think that's the best way to describe it. Hurtado has a knack for doing that now.
He does. Yeah. I'm going with a massive surprise because I knew it was going to be a B team that was out there. The way the New York City have been, unbeaten at home, we know how dangerous they are, even without David Villa. The dodgy defence that was out there, which we'll come to, or on paper at least, the dodgy defence, it didn't bode well. So for me, surprise. Now we talked about Erik Hurtado. That's our second question. Erik Hurtado is and we'll start with Joe.
A player who has value for money. Which is going to be a theme of today's show,
I think it might be, yes.
Erik Hurtado is easy.
Oh.
Just
easygoing?
Easygoing, gets into the thing, and when you need him the most, he pops one in like that.
I've only met him once, and it was at a Rovers game. He was chatting with someone from, I think he played for Portland before, so he must have known someone in the U23s. And he was very nice to me when I spoke to him, so I agree with the
he's a very nice guy.
He's a lovely guy. We've got him on later in the show as well, in one of our fun food segments. Anyway, Erik Hurtado for me is, I'm going to say an enigma because, or is a reliable person.
Well,
reliable
that's two complete opposites.
Yeah. Consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, he's a bit of an enigma because he's not the kind of player that you don't really want him to get a run in the team as the starter.
No.
Like, he's not going to dispose Kei Kamara. But he's reliable in that it's like Russell Tybert, whenever you call on him,
yes,
he comes up with the goods. And he has had a couple of really clutch goals. And sometimes, it does feel like his feet are cement. But other times, he just pulls out things like this and grabs an unexpected point or points.
Mm-hmm.
So our last question for this segment, the Canadian Championship is
vital for next year. Because they can, by winning the championship, going into the Champions League next year, they will bring in extra money.
Because they don't have much.
Well, no, I mean, but the thing is, the additional TAM and GAM, because they'll have money to spend if they. And now, again, we're doing this hypothetical. We don't know what they're going to do with the money. But if they're going to spend on transfer fees, this extra GAM, and they have $750 from Alfonso's transfer to spend in GAM, they could have additional TAM and GAM that they can buy down those contracts that they use for. You know what I mean? They could actually turn those high TAM players into. Lower paid players.
Maybe even buy out Brexit. But anyway, Joe, the Canadian Championship is
going to be stressful.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. I'm going with a must-win.
Oh, yeah, vital.
Because I feel the MLS, and we'll come to this later on the show, I feel the MLS is slipping away from us more and more every week.
It's going to be a dogfight.
You go to New York, you get a point, but yet the gap widens, and
what's it? 11 games left for the Wigan? So 11 games left to get into the playoffs. 2 games to win a trophy.
True.
I would rather go for the trophy at this point. Afterwards you pull full force to the playoffs.
But we're going to cover the Canadian Championship in, I think it's part 4 of the show, and I've got some interesting audio from the Toronto side about that as well. So, we'll come to that. We're going to kick things off though in part 1 with a look at the Whitecaps' draw in New York City. There was injuries, there was suspensions, people were rested.
Oh my. Just like the Wizard of Oz. Lion, what was it? No, you guys probably know. Forget it.
I have seen the Wizard of Oz. I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's something.
I like Wicked. That's a great...
Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. That's it.
Oh,
That's the term.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking of something like that. I kind of blanked on that.
Which player didn't have a heart?
Okay, so who was the lion? Who was the tiger? Who was the bear?
He's got a ponytail and he's blonde.
Oh,
everybody says that, not just me.
He's the Tin
it's just
Man.
you.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Okay, then that's fine.
It was a weekend lineup. Firm focus was clearly on Wednesday. Some folks seemed really surprised by that when the lineup came out, which surprised me that they were surprised. But I mean, surely that was what was expected.
When Nick and I were doing the preview show, we started out with 2 hypotheticals.
Yeah.
We had if the Caps go for this game and if the Caps rotate this game, and we ended up kind of agreeing on the second option because that's what we would have done if we were in Robbo's shoes for sure. A lot of those players, they look tired even if they play 1 game a week at this stage of the season.
Yeah, some of them looked really tired by the end of the game. I don't know how sapping the heat was, but it was... Yeah, a few of them looked absolutely shattered.
The only one that I thought, I think I almost, when I was thinking of this lineup, I almost hit it bang on, except for I thought Henry would play in one of the center back positions.
Yeah, I didn't know Aha was injured until Friday.
Yeah, I thought it would be.
I was like, oh.
I honestly thought it was going to be Henry and Aha at the center back.
They
were going to play.
Aha and Mond.
Yeah, that's what we thought as well. We did, without knowing about
So other than the
injury.
center back position, I think I almost correctly picked the other position. Of course, I never told
thought maybe
anybody.
Rowe would have started just to rest Marinovic.
But Waston's suspension made it easier to make that call of a fuller rotation in that position, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've been told there's some players injured. I'm doing that in inverted commas. I'm still a little bit sceptical about that. But when you first saw the lineup and you saw that centre back pairing, I mean, what did you think? Gazal's had a bit of an adventure as a centre back.
Well, they only gave up 1 goal against Montreal.
He did score an own goal though when he played before.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first time he played centre back.
Yeah.
I wasn't super optimistic when I saw it, but
I wasn't optimistic either.
That's what get ripped apart.
I was more worried about other aspects of the team, particularly the wings. But the centre back pairing didn't give me confidence.
I was thinking they just maybe not even play the game and just take the 3-0 result.
I thought 3-0. That was what I was actually expecting. But is this one of those games though that it now feels like a win?
Oh, it definitely does. Although
Although if you look at the goals against and some of the other stuff, that you think you could actually won this game.
Looking at it in context, the other teams around us in the standings all won their games. So it's hard. I don't think I can see it as a win completely.
Yeah.
But it's better than I thought what would happen.
Been a bit of a disappointing week, and we'll come to the MLS news in part 3. So you're heading into New York. The team's unbeaten at home all season. You've gone in with a B team. I'll admit it. I thought, especially the way that the first few minutes started, it was going to be a rout. But then Stefan Marinovic came up with a fantastic save. I know 5 minutes in is a little bit early to say that was a game changer, but I think it gave some confidence to the Whitecaps. If that had gone in, I think the floodgates would have opened.
I totally agree. There's an interesting comparison to make between Rowe and Marinovic. I don't remember Rowe in that stint that he played probably close to 10 games when Marinovic was
It
in
might
it.
even be 12.
Yeah, there wasn't any game-stopping changes, or there was maybe one or two.
There was near the end,
Yeah.
near the end of his run,
But
that there was
big early.
one game that I
If
think.
we recall the end of last season, it was every game for Marinovic that he would make one of those,
Game
MLS
changing
highlights,
stops. Yeah.
stay, right? And that was
Yeah.
one of them this time. I think particularly in Whitecaps history, we've had goalies that can do that and have had goalies that can't do that.
Yeah.
So, you can put Brad Knighton in one bucket and David Ousted in the other, And I think Marinovic is right in that ilk of like Ousted style of goalkeeper.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about before when Rowe was in the thing. We said that, like, in my opinion, Marinovic has more of the athletic kind of reflex kind of stopping ability.
You fancy him to get down to some of those.
Yeah, and then Rowe is more of a positional type goalkeeper.
And this is something that Nick watches out for all the time because he plays goalie sometimes. Marinovic's distribution is quite more consistent than Rowe's.
Yeah.
So that I don't think our style encourages accurate distribution from the goalie unless he's aiming for Kamara's head, but it still comes into play like over the long term.
Got to give credit as well to Ali Ghazal on that. That was a neat little back heel. That was cool.
The clearance after the save. If there was a player behind him though,
he was screwed.
He could have
I'm hoping he knew that there wasn't a player behind him.
Hopefully he did a
I'm
shoulder
hoping
check.
he was completely aware.
Yeah.
If he wasn't, then maybe he wasn't as good at that.
It turned out that it looked cool.
Yeah.
But Marinovic had a strong game. It's surprising to me though. Like, New York City had 22 shots.
Mm-hmm.
Only 2 saves though from Marinovic. I mean, if that was the reverse, you'd be like crying out about what's wrong with the strikers there. And for all their possession, they didn't really threaten too much. A couple of little lapses either side of half time. Without that, the Whitecaps were fairly comfortable in that game.
Yeah, they obviously absorbed a lot of possession, the Whitecaps, but there were some shots from outside, which the I don't even know what to call them.
Well,
they were
playing a lot of corners to the edge or outside of the
set
box.
plays.
Yeah, it's like they obviously knew how many goals were getting given up there.
Yeah.
That's a concerning thing that other teams are reading things so much. And we'll hear in part 2 from the New York City coach, and it's another coach saying he knew exactly how the Whitecaps were going to play.
Yeah.
But then, sorry, Robbo was after the game was saying the same thing. He was saying stuff about the New York City FC that we know that they give up a lot of goals. We know how they give up their goals, and so he was saying similar things that they knew how to play. All coaches know if they do their enough research, they'll know exactly what the other team's going to do.
I think just back to the fact that New York had so many shots and it didn't seem like it was working. That team had been built in David Villa's image. And him missing was a big thing. He's one of their top goal scorers. They have 3 players on 8 goals, which is amazing.
Yeah,
it's a different.
He might not even have
point.
been, even if he hadn't missed the All-Star game. I'm not sure he was fully recovered anyway this one.
I agree. Yeah,
but Morales, for all the talk beforehand about how good he's been, he was like very ineffective. And you've got to give the Caps credit. I just think it was all right, a kind of workmanlike, all-round defensive effort.
Yeah,
and that's what's been lacking so much. In a lot of the games where we've given up points.
And the fullbacks had a great game, which really helped that, 4 across the back, solid structure. Caps
took the lead. I was stunned.
Yeah.
I think.
Was it like their second attack or something like that of note? It wasn't really.
Yeah,
the
first attack was a half attack. It was.
It was a great individual goal. But at the same time, how does a team let a guy run from inside his own half completely unchallenged? There's 4 guys around him. And get off a shot, which he really had no right to put away.
No.
A keeper should have got to that. But when he took this shot, it was like, oh.
Well, no, and the thing is, I want to give credit to Colin Miller, who's been on the show before. He on the radio, he basically said the goalkeeper went down on installments. He went down, like it was like taking his time getting down to the ball.
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely one that a starter would have stopped. I think their starter's Sean Johnson. Yeah, I think he might have been able to get down and stop that one.
Yeah, it was Stover was his name.
Stuver.
Yeah. I think goalie should have done better, but you have to credit Mosqueda for driving like right at the heart of the defense. How many times would we see a Whitecaps player kind of look for someone to do a 1-2 with or something? He's one of the few players who can actually go that directly on.
And the thing is, the pitch is so small that it only takes a couple of strides before you have to you get into a scoring position as well.
Shoot from the halfway line if you want.
Yeah, I mean, he had the confidence as well to go for that, which was great for a guy that's not. I mean, it was one of his rare good starts, and that's what we need more from him. We know what he can do, and that's what frustrates me. We've seen him do it off the bench. We've seen him do it in things like this.
But is he going to get a reputation now for the guy who can shoot long shots? Because he has that one, the last minute equalizer against Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, that's the one that immediately pops into my head.
Yeah, like he's had a couple of free kicks. Is he going to be the guy that goes down in the Whitecaps Ring of Honor as the
the long range expert?
Exactly.
He could be our special teams player if we change the rules.
Bring on a guy for a big kick.
Now, after that, you knew then that New York were going to up the pressure. They fired into the side netting, but it looked, they crashed one off the bar as well, which was very fortunate. It then looked like the Caps had got to half-time. To give a goal up again at the end of a half was just so frustrating.
So typical.
And, yeah. Watching it back as well, I mean, I cried Jesus when it happened, and he scored.
Yeah.
Or Jesus, I believe is his actual name. But breaking it down, watching it back this morning, definitely some defensive bits you want back there.
Yeah.
Levi's jumped into a tackle, missed it completely. The guy just easily side-footed him. Even before that, Tybert was kind of caught out because I think he thought the ball was going out, and then the guy cut back in.
Yeah, and Felipe appealed for a foul or something.
Yep.
When the referee after the goal was had his hand to his ear and was looking for the video assistant ref, I thought everyone was talking about the offside that Burgett might have been offside, but I thought it was the instant before, because in MLS, not anywhere else, they review all the way back to like whenever they win the ball.
So, 10 minutes ago.
Exactly.
And that happened today too in a game, or yesterday.
Oh, yeah, there's a few contentious things both ways with VAR. But it also then went through two Whitecaps players and Marinovic's legs. Could he have done better? I think he could, but it was maybe shielded.
Yeah.
It just felt he could do better.
Because Levi's flashed in front of him. Maybe he just lost track of the ball at that time.
Yeah.
And he didn't realize that. Maybe he didn't realize the player was going to go, Jesus was going to go right. I think he went right, yeah? Because Levi's went this way across him, and then he went right, and then I'm not going to do like a demonstration like Zach did last week. And so I think Marinovic could have done better, but he might have lost the ball too, like in that moment.
And that happens to the best goalies in the world, between the feet. I don't think it's very hard, because if you're the goalie, to save that, you have to time your feet closing to kick the ball away.
You have to time it to perfection.
Yeah, that's pretty difficult.
There was a lot of criticism from Marinovic I saw online, which I find confusing, because I thought he was one of the better players.
You have to channel your frustration to someone, I guess.
I think he was the man of the match almost, just because of the first save.
I think so many folk just want to pile on the team just in general at times, but obviously that was one goal given up. We give goals up in two, so that we knew there was another one coming. Didn't quite expect it 44 seconds into the second half. That was a nightmare minute before, nightmare minute after, and it was a nice goal from New York City. But I do possibly think that Berget, whatever he is, I think he was borderline offside, but it wasn't clear and obvious.
It was on TV. They showed a horrible camera angle.
Yeah,
it was like not even unless they had different camera angles for VAR itself. Maybe they did.
But what was Gazal doing on that goal?
Yeah,
there was one when the ball comes over and he gets it, and then he inexplicably doesn't look at the guy with the ball and then just runs towards the middle, stops, and he's like, he's got the ball behind me.
He entered the box unopposed.
Yeah,
because everyone was backing off. Like if he shot there, and you took a snapshot of the moment the shot was taken, it would have been hilarious to see the two centre backs at the penalty spot
Yeah,
while your man is wide
with
open.
one with his back to him.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That was just baffling to me.
That's another thing. Like I remember Andrew Jacobson used to do that a lot too. He did it a couple of times. Not a lot. Sorry, he did it a couple. He got caught a couple of times in the box where he gave too much space to the attacker. And I mentioned it last year too that maybe it's a holding, defenders mentality where they think they have more time to allow the player to go before they.
I don't know if he
approach
thought
him.
Franklin was possibly there.
Maybe.
But I'm not really sure where Franklin was in that. But
If the Whitecaps are intent on playing that kind of scramble kind of defending that some teams do really well, like Uruguay and Atletico Madrid and like Chelsea, Man United, those kind of teams, that cannot happen at all at any point when you play that kind of a system.
yeah,
So you have to fix that so it doesn't happen again.
I guess it was a needs-must situation having him in there. After that, you thought New York City would just go on and kill the game off. I was surprised. The lack of killer instinct from them. There was nothing really from them. They had a couple of half chances. There was one of the corners, I think it was Ring possibly, that curled it just wide.
Ring was fantastic.
Yeah.
A very solid player to watch.
Yeah. Lot of nice little fouls as well to break up plays, which is what you have to do. And then he got a stinger. And it's like we've all had a ring sting. It's like we've all been there. It's not nice. But the Whitecaps, from what then felt like a throwaway game, Robbo made subs that kind of indicated that it wasn't. The half-time sub we'll come to in the second part when we talk about some of the players. But then brought on Reyna and Davies. Immediately there's a spark there. Obviously, whenever they bring Davies on or whenever he's on the ball now, other teams are focused on him, which it's going to free up other guys to do stuff. But Davies then had a great effort from outside the box.
But it took him some time to get into the game, I think.
Yeah.
Well, he was fouled out of every run he tried to do.
Yeah, he did.
He's going to have that now.
Yeah, but I think
there's a couple of sandwiches.
There was but I think normally he would have, if he had started the game, for example. By then, I think he would have been able to get by those guys. But I don't think he comes well off the bench. It seems like
going back to the pitch thing, it's so narrow. All he can do is go central.
Yeah, it's true.
I read an interesting tweet from a journalist who said they don't allow journalists on the pitch because they're concerned that they will step to see how wide it is. So journalists are never allowed on the pitch.
So we don't actually know what
the
dimensions
because
are.
It's right on the minimum length or width.
I've heard
FIFA.
some people say that, and I can't. I wish I could credit the person who said it. It was on a radio interview that they said that the dimensions of the pitch is actually less than what they say.
Yeah, I think it is.
Surprised. But I think if I remember the rules correctly for the size of a pitch, it can be anywhere between like X and then the next is 2X. Like it can be twice as
I think
wide
the minimum
sometimes.
though is 100, and they don't think it's 100.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Out of the blue, kinda. I mean, the Whitecaps were enjoying their best spell of pressure with the ball, but bam, 2-2. Lovely passing move, which I didn't really appreciate it until I watched it back this morning. There was 8 passes in that build-up.
Oh, the season high.
Yeah, and it went on for what seemed like ages. I should have checked the time as well, but I was rushing to get out the door. But then it ended with Shea putting in a perfect cross to Hurtado, money in the back of the net.
Somebody at the back post.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Shea as well. We know he can do that. He just doesn't, which is what's frustrating.
Yeah.
If he got more of a run, would he deliver more balls like that? Or it's the fact that he was kind of left back by that point.
He seemed like
is
he
that
plays
maybe
started
where
playing
he
better.
is best suited?
I don't know. Maybe he needed more space. Like we said, maybe it was the pitch thing again. He didn't have enough because the game against Montreal, the second leg of them against Montreal, I thought he played really well in that game, and I think maybe he just needed more space and playing a left back.
Well, he nearly won it too because he rattled a free kick off the bar. I didn't know he had that in his locker.
Now that one, this is the epitome of Brek Shea. He rattles it off the bar, showing how skillful he is, and then after the ball comes out. Not very many people probably notice this. They start making the break back, and Brek Shea's just standing there, looking at them, and then he goes, "Oh, I got to run!" And then he starts running.
Oh, I'm left back.
Back to the goal. Just one thing I noticed after I watched the replay. I actually missed the goal the first time because I was holding my son, and because he threw up on my shirt, and I saw Reyna.
They
Reyna
weren't
was
even wearing the raindrop kits.
yeah, exactly. Reyna was the other person in the box, and
Yes.
he was closer to Shea, and
He was in the middle, right?
he was
Yeah.
right in the middle with several defenders around him, which is why Hurtado was free.
Yeah.
But when the ball came in, and knowing he probably knew that it was way too high for him, he made like a little dart towards the goalkeeper. And that's why the goalkeeper came out towards that group of players. And that's why Hurtado had that like basically a tap in.
Yes, so much room.
Yeah, it's just a little motion that he did, which shows, the kind of confidence that he has.
It was a little bit too close to the keeper, though,
Yes,
for my liking,
yes.
because a better keeper could possibly have got a stronger hand
Absolutely.
on that.
That had a
You take
MLS
the keeper
save
you
of
did
the
give you.
week.
Yeah, I would still take that. It was a well-earned point. I was disappointed, though, in the closing minutes, seconds. We had those free kicks,
Yeah.
and instead of putting them in the box, trying to sneak what would have been a massive win and a very much needed win, but just trying to kill time, happy not to lose.
It would have been the most Whitecaps thing ever if they conceded a goal from a counter-attack. So maybe they just
there
know
was
their
that
own
as well. They
limitations.
have been hit a couple of times, but it was just frustrating because it's like, go for it. He's going to blow the whistle any second.
Yeah. We've had disappointing results this season. We've been battered this season. The one thing we haven't had too much of is being killed in the last minute of a game. So they probably knew it was on the script if they did go for it.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, we'll be back with some more chat about the players and hear from both head coaches after this.
Hi, I'm Erik Hurtado, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
I'm not saying I hate New York. Never been. But I like that song by the Teenage Mothers. Welcome back. You're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio. We're going to continue some Whitecaps NYC chat in this part as well. Going to kick things off, though, by hearing from both head coaches. You heard our thoughts in part one as to what we thought of the game. So, first of all, we're going to hear from New York City's Torrent. A lot of the questions, there was 11 minutes he had, and a lot of them were in Spanish, which really I wasn't expecting in New York City. So we got some of the English ones out of this, and then we'll hear from Robbo.
Who are the Warriors?
In 20 minutes, we play really well. But after that, it's the same the last 3 games. Even against Orlando, we lost the control in 10 minutes and we defend deep. I don't know why, but I don't like to defend deep. But after that, we draw the game.
Vancouver seemed willing to let you have the ball, have possession. How do you go about playing against a team that seems willing to play a little bit more defensive on the road?
Yeah. We know exactly when the way the Vancouver play. He used many times the counterattack because they don't start to play with Reyna or Davis, but they use a lot of time the counterattack. They are comfortable when they defend deep and regain the ball and play quickly, especially when the 3 players, especially Reyna, sometimes Teixeira and Davis. And we knew that this team play in that way, and it's not easy to play against us. But that is the reason why we play today 4-3-3. Our wingers wide, and I think we found many times, especially in the left side, Ismael all the time was free. And this is our intention, play with the wingers wide, and they close all the time inside and defend deep. And the best way for me, the attack, when the opponent defend deep and close inside, is the wingers wide. And I think we didn't play bad. We have to improve, I know. But I'm happy in the first half, in about 20-25 minutes, as well in the second half, in the first 25 minutes. After that, we are in trouble because again we defend deep. I don't know why, but we defend deep, and when a team defend deep, sometimes you have lucky, like against Orlando, but sometimes not.
The boys are happy. I think when you look at the big picture, you know, and I say this every week, I love that group in there. I really do love them boys. And when they play like that and perform like that and give me absolutely everything, that's the reason why I love these boys. And if you would have known the travel schedule we had and the day before our game yesterday, training day, we weren't able to be on the training pitch. We were training down by the Path station on a quagmire, and they produced a character performance like that. I'm so proud of them, and I love them to bits.
You're always talking about taking your chances. Nico Mosqueda, Erik Hurtado, they took those chances. How big was it to see the squad depth come and shine through here?
Well, yeah, very important. Obviously, the two centre-backs, I changed both full-backs. Jake's got an injury with his hamstring. Obviously, Brett Levi was due a game. The two centre-backs, Mondi was excellent, and Ali has dropped into that role for me. So there was always rotation going to be done in this game because we got a big game in Toronto. Fonzie comes on, he was tired. You could see the effects of a long week for him. You know, Bug didn't get any minutes. Jordi got 20 minutes, looked sharp when he came on. And credit to Erik Hurtado as well, because he's been really, really patient throughout this year. And he hasn't complained. He's got on with his business. He's got a super finish. And he's put himself right in the shop window now for me.
What do you think this draw could do for the team going forward, confidence-wise?
They're as good a team as we've played. You know, they move the ball very well. Tactically, they're very smart. I think we limited them in the first half, and I think they made adjustments in the second, which caused us problems. When that happens and you're away from home, it's important you hang in there. We saw last week when we scored 3 against Minnesota and were flying, they hung in there. They got 1 goal, it went 3-2, and then it went 4-2. Today was similar. You know, we were under the cosh a little bit. We defended for our lives like you need to do. They're a really good passing team, because they got really good players. But they couldn't get, you know, the 2 goals we gave away were bad goals. The first, just before half-time, it was a poor bit of defending. And the second one, we got caught under it, and the centre-forward Berger ran in behind my centre-back, and it's a good goal by them, but it's a bad goal from us. But start of the second half, end of the first half, but we didn't go under. The boys continued to go, and while we were only 1 goal behind, we know we will create a chance because of the players we got.
The gaffers there talking about the Whitecaps draw in New York City.
That's what gaffers do.
And yeah, Robbo mentioned there about the shambles of the training on Friday.
Double booked.
Yeah, they turned up in Hoboken. Hoboken, whatever it is. And the pitch was double booked with some kids' camp.
Which is more important.
Yeah, not your ideal preparation. Not sure whose fingers should be pointed at what there, but
yeah, they found a park somewhere, didn't they? Or
well, he said they trained down at the Path station.
Oh, I don't know what that
don't know if it was on the tracks or not, but but he also mentioned an interesting thing there, that Erik Hurtado, that performance had put him in the shop window, as if he's possibly wanting to trade him, unless he just meant in his mind he's put him in his plans for moving forward.
Yeah.
But I took it to mean that he's possibly sent a message to others in the league that, hey, come and trade for this guy. Because we've got a couple of days left at the transfer window's open.
Yeah, but even if you trade for Hurtado, if you're doing it to make up open up cap space, Hurtado's not on that much money where it's going to be bringing in somebody specific.
No.
And the cap space is the Whitecaps' biggest issue right now.
Yeah.
In terms of transfer activity. So moving him would make almost no sense.
Yeah, we're kind of screwed in that regard unless we get a couple of our big guys off, which we'll look at in this part. Now, Robbo had a new polo shirt on. Yeah. It was an All Saints one. That's a London brand.
Is that a band too?
Oh, yeah, it was an all-girls band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think they've got a shop in San Francisco. I'm pretty sure I was in it in San Francisco. Their stuff is pricey over here. It's not as bad in the UK, but obviously he makes a lot of money. But to me, it looked like it was a satanic goat's head that was on it. it turns out it's a ram's head. It's part of their ram's head range. But I think he made a deal with the devil to get that point, possibly using satanic allocation money. Was that why Blondell was taken off at half-time? Was he sacrificed? Will we ever see him again?
I think if he was going to make a deal with the devil, he'd get more than 1 point.
That was my point as well. But maybe like the powers that be in the universe.
Deals off.
Like he could have been speaking to the devil, and the devil would be like, a win is like too unrealistic for you guys right now.
Yeah, folk will be really suspicious if you get 3 points from this one.
So wear this shirt and have a draw. that could have been the deal.
Maybe they didn't sacrifice enough, which is why Shea's shot hit the bar. If they had done a double sacrifice,
the player they sacrificed wasn't on a big enough contract.
Yeah.
That's how the devil measures
talking of Blondell and big contracts, he's on 295,000, I'll have you know. Not bad money if you can get it.
No.
Being a lovely city, not do much. I'll do that.
He has 1 goal, right? Just to
yes. Yeah. And he got the assist on the first goal.
Yeah.
It's one of those borderline assists.
It was like Alphonso Davies' first assist last week.
Yeah. It's really, realistically, it's not an assist to me, but officially it is. But I thought he had another poor outing.
Yeah.
But he's not, at the same point, he's not being set up to succeed. He's getting thrown into weird games, weird lineups, weird teams around him.
No chemistry with the players that are playing.
Still not got to see him and Kamara up front, which is what I've been wanting to see.
I think earlier in the season when he had a relative good period, it was him and Reina we were all excited about, right?
Yeah, because pre-season they were on fire together.
I think they had 1 through ball. Reina had 1 through ball to Reina, and that Reina had 1 through ball to Blondell. That got everyone excited.
Yeah, they got a couple of goals each, assists on each of them. It was a tough match for him. I think anyone would have probably struggled up front.
Do you think he could be a player where it's not going to go well for him in the first year, but he maybe needs a year to kind of get his bearings? I know nobody wants to hear that because
he has goals in him. We know that.
Can you take that risk? I mean, they have invested. I think his contract's till 2020 or 2021.
So
it's a long-term contract.
Yeah, so you might lose something if you give up on him too soon.
They could sell him back to
how much was he signed
South America? I'm not sure. They never really released their.
Okay.
I don't sign him for.
I thought
it might have been a free.
Yeah, it might have been a free. I don't think there was a transfer fee. I don't think they would pay a transfer fee after. Although it kind of worked out, Octavio Rivero. I don't know if they were going to pay a transfer.
Well,
fee.
he was top goal scorer in the Venezuelan league.
He just might have been available after that.
I remember there was a transfer fee,
was there?
And I remember Lenarduzzi saying that it was quite a big transfer fee, but they never actually released the numbers.
We'll get Steve to fact check this as we go through. I don't want to give up on him. And we do know he can score, as he's shown
and he's young,
in Venezuela.
right?
And he's young. But he needs to... I mean, if the Whitecaps do bow out of the playoffs and it doesn't look like it's going to happen, that's when you need to give him a run and have him and Kamara up front, playing your 2 up front. Kamara is going to be a year older next year. He's maybe not going to be able to do as much. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But another player that's not doing much, and that is on an even bigger salary of 304,000, Bernie Abini.
Yeah. Worst Whitecaps transfer in recent years.
We don't do well with these summer additions.
No. I'm trying to think of a player that has made less of an impact on that kind of money. Like usually they have some kind of return on investment, but Abini had 1 goal against Colorado. Is that like... I think I remember Tim Howard not saving one of his shots that went right at him.
I can't remember what Diego Rodriguez was on, but I think he was on quite a high 200 and something, but not as high as 304.
I can't even remember who Diego Rodriguez is. I remember Sebastian Fernandez, but all these names are too similar. Yeah.
But, I mean, Bernie Abini, A-League is a possible landing spot for him.
Of course, yeah, returning
back. But who would give him more money than 304,000?
Maybe back to Belgium. He had success there.
But, like, if you're a scout for a Belgian team and you've looked at his performances, why would you fork out anything? Even if the Whitecaps let him go for free.
But it felt like he had a bad game, but he did have 19 touches and 78% passing accuracy. So was he as bad as it appeared? Am I just being too critical? Am I being blinkered as I often get accused of being on certain players?
No, because the thing is, I don't remember him being mentioned at all in the broadcast. Like you rarely ever remember him. I know you said 19 touches, but I don't. There weren't. Doesn't feel like there were vital touches at any point.
No. How did your research go on Blundell?
Oh, okay. So I checked transfer market because I didn't think there was going to be anything. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this, but it looks like, because there's two numbers here, it's either £540,000 or £983,000. Because it's MV and fee. I'm assuming MV might be salary, maybe. And then fee is obviously the transfer fee.
But
it's hard to.
Also might just be what they're kind of guessing.
Yeah, it's also, I guess,
very shady and all this kind of stuff.
Previous to that, it was all question marks in his previous two times he got transferred somewhere.
This is just based off pure memory. I remember someone saying something about 7 figures. So
it could be 98 or 83 pounds.
Yeah,
that's terrifying for what return they're getting.
They're definitely not getting rid of him that quickly.
And remember, they had to snap him up. Like he was announced so early, like right after the season ended, because there was so much interest in him. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually the
I think it's a thing where they might be maybe a thing where he's homesick or something. Maybe he's taking time to acclimatize because it's first time out of the country.
Yeah,
and maybe he just needs an extra year to get going or something.
He's also had to learn the language, and there's been a few other issues.
Because I think he was brought in first, if I'm not mistaken. Then Kamara came in, and we were talking about how we don't have to rely on Blundell to score all the goals. We got Kamara to score all the goals. So maybe this is kind of exactly what we were talking about.
You guys have been around the team more than me. Does he get along with the other guys?
Yeah.
There's no issues that you think there.
No, he seems to. Him and Rain are quite close.
Okay.
They've hung out a lot, and I can't remember, there was someone else that was hanging out with him a bit as well. But if you've got a guy then like Erik Hurtado who's on lower salary coming on and performing like that as well, you've got Meyer Bevan who's going to be itching for his chance. Theo Bair's been signed for next year as well. Yeah. So I mean,
play 3 up front. So
yeah,
that's the solution.
4-3-3, 3-4-3. Let's just be really adventurous. Any other poor showings for you from the New York City game?
I thought everyone else fulfilled their role pretty well. Quickly trying to scan through the rest of the players that came on.
I'm a little concerned about Brett Levi's,
but Robbo thought he played well.
Yeah,
I thought he was okay.
He was okay.
I think he was just that
again,
one mistake.
He didn't make it past the 70-minute mark.
But I think that might have been tactical.
I think it might have been this week, but he has talked about cramp and stuff.
Yeah,
and that happened in the Canadian Championship as well. And Robbo said afterwards, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
It's something he really has to sort out if he wants to have a long-term future here. Because
I think the best compliment I can think off the top of my head for Levi's performance was that New York always went down their left side, so the Whitecaps' right side.
Yeah.
So they wanted to stay away from him.
Remember another player who tends to deal with cramps a lot, and especially when I see him start games, is Erik Hurtado. Remember that there's a couple of times when we saw him in person, especially in the preseason, where he had to take those hydration pills or whatever. You see him taking pills on the side or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking? Do you remember?
Are those vinegar pills to stop cramp?
Wow.
Stop something like that. Yeah. There's something that he was taking with water or something like that. Yeah, I do. I remember that. Yeah. I seen it a couple times when he started, and he's playing a full 90. That I've seen him on the sideline doing it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, talking to Erik Hurtado.
Oh,
I was really pleased for him.
Oh yeah.
He works really hard at training, and last season was the season we kind of came full circle on him. We feel he is an asset to the team, especially on that salary. He's patient as well. Robbo always talks about he's not a guy that comes banging on the door saying, when am I going to play? When am I going to get my minutes? And he is good for 3-4 goals in a season.
For sure. And important goals, it seems like, every time.
Well, it seems you can almost synthesize it down to he has gotten points for the Whitecaps.
Oh, for sure.
In his MLS career.
Yeah.
Today, not this
Columbus.
weekend. Yeah, and the Kansas City one just always sticks with me because that goal was so outrageous to begin with. But he won 3 points by himself last season. Well, that's being a little bit kind of simplistic, and he got a point for us today.
And I think the year before it was Columbus where he scored that amazing goal too.
I would certainly have him ahead of Blundell just now in the strikers pecking order anyway.
Hopefully you don't have to let go of either of them. That's the way I would edge towards right now, because Blundell has potential, and that's why you pay the money for him. If a good offer comes in that covers your costs, so that's the salary you've paid him and the transfer fee you've paid for him.
Well, I don't mind. I don't care about the salary. I'm more of the transfer fee. If they can break even on the transfer fee, then I do.
I don't care. I just want production. Oh, the ice cream man is here.
I was wondering where there was silence. Everyone was distracted.
Yeah. Oh, I love a good ice cream in the summer. And you know who else does? Erik
It's a
Hurtado.
hot day, obviously not just now. But if it was a hot day and you decide you wanted to get some ice cream, what would be your ice cream flavour of choice?
Oh, maybe some like salted caramel or like Belgian brownie. Some brownie chunks in the chocolate. Oh, yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much, Erik.
All right, no
That's
problem.
great.
Yeah,
Cheers,
yeah.
man.
Ice cream man, ring your bell, play the music I've learned to love so well. Ice cream man, ring your chimes in the afternoon so fine.
Haven't done this with you guys. Favourite flavour of ice cream, Steve?
I'm a simple guy, vanilla.
Oh,
Ooh, interesting. Oreo, I think. I had some. Actually, yesterday I was in Granville Island. Had Oreo on the bottom with blackberry on the top. Now that's controversial, I know, but it was one of the best ice cream cones I had in recent times.
Actually, I would go if I were going to go a little adventurous. I go French vanilla.
Oh,
Yeah.
You like your Frenchies.
Allez.
I'm a mint choc chip. I do like a raspberry ripple. I've kind of started to really like that. Takes me back to my childhood again.
Yeah.
And of course, a 99, which you don't do here.
They don't do them here.
I know.
They're more expensive now. In Ireland they are anyway, but
Yeah. If anyone doesn't know what a 99 is, it's a whippy cone with a flake in it.
the flake is the best part.
Yeah. Oh man, I could murder one of those just now. Anyway, back to the show. Felipe. Let's talk about him for a little bit. I liked what he did at the end. He's kind of been described before as kind of one of those niggly little players that gets under folks' skin, and I think he was doing that in the closing minutes, just going down, holding his head. He might have genuinely had a concussion. I was a little bit concerned at one point, but we need somebody that's going to infuriate opponents like that, and he
the
just
New York
ticks the boxes.
The New York City FC fans knew him, and they booed him right away.
Oh yeah,
they knew what he was up to immediately.
It's great when he's on your team, but
yeah,
it
he's
must
one
be
of those
infuriating
guys
on the
that
other side.
Russell Tiber, another point where he is, or another game where he is in, and we haven't lost.
Yeah.
Do you think it was good, bad,
I think it wasn't his best game of the year, but definitely he didn't make many horrendous errors.
No.
Yeah, the first goal he dove in like a couple other players did, but other than that, I thought he played a solid game.
He does things that other players don't do consistently, which in a system, in an MLS style system, is so underrated. I think.
Definitely wasn't one of his better games, and I read a description on the Take the Piss forum of his performances that he was being thrown about a little bit like a rag doll at times, which
that's doing him a disservice.
Harsh.
I think. Yeah, he's not that kind of player. If he's doing that, it's because he has to.
Yeah.
Gazal and whoever else is in it, Felipe, even I would put a more physical type of player than he is supposed to be.
So man of the match. Before we give ours, who scored had Nico at 7.87, just ahead of Breck Shea at 7.61, and Felipe at 7.13. Hurtado as a sub got 7.06, which is very telling considering he was on at half time. Then the bottom for just starters only. Worst performance, Brett Levi 6.17. Aaron Mon got 6.45.
Which seems low for him because I thought he was one of their better players.
Yeah. Ibini 6.47 and Blundell and Marinovic were 6.53.
Marinovic got 6.5.
I think because he let 2 goals. If a goalie lets in a couple goals, he's going to go down.
But that's save.
No, that's save. But they don't count this one save versus 2 goals let in. That excuse
but that save was anti-goal.
That's why these I don't buy these
no,
totally because
they are stacked a bit. Like Nico's top because he got a goal, Shea's second because he got an assist, and
hit the bar.
So
you could absolutely do nothing at all in a game, could score a goal, and you could be top in these things. I personally, for me, because the initial save could have changed that goal, could have changed the thing. I got Marinovic as my man of the match.
I think just for impact, Reina. I think he benefits so much from having Davies.
When he came on.
He benefits so much from having Davies on the field because he, like you mentioned earlier, Michael, is one of those players that gets freedom from the space that Davies creates because everyone's crapping their pants when Davies gets the ball.
Yeah. I would possibly go with Nico. I'm not too sure. One thing, just before we wrap this up, that I forgot to mention when we were talking about Blundell and Hurtado, subbing him off at half-time does not send a good message.
No.
And, I mean, it might be a knock that we don't know about. But
in the post-game, Robbo said that he was leggy.
Leggy.
Which is a favorite term now.
Yeah, he likes leggy.
So I think maybe not enough training on Friday maybe affected that. Maybe he wasn't like fully ready to go.
That's a concern.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be back with a review of MLS West this week. spoiler, did not go well for the Whitecaps. But we'll be back with that after this.
Hi, I'm Alfonso Davies, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Last night I missed all the fireworks.
I didn't miss them.
No, Edinburgh band Idlewild there. But yes, Steve, you did not miss them. You were at English Bay Beach in your banana hammock.
No. Just blankets. Simple blankets.
How were they?
They're really good.
Yeah.
South Korea put on quite a show.
Yeah, I heard from folk at my wife's Facebook that it was a really, really good show last night.
Yeah, it was really good.
I just cannot be bothered with crowds.
Yeah.
That's why I support East Fife. So, like something
we
like
go
that.
We go once a year. We don't go to all three, just one. Usually the first one or the last one because it's Saturday, and hit there like 6 o'clock. Eat our dinner there, have a picnic, and then just wait for the fireworks. And usually we're by ourselves, and then we just get surrounded by more and more people as the time goes on. Then we're surrounded.
So in this part, we're going to look at what happened in MLS this week. Caps may have got a point that felt like a win and everything seemed great, but look at the other results and it was not great. We're still 7th, but we did fall to 8th in points per game. We're now 4 points off that playoff line. Real Salt Lake, who had been on a bit of a wane, have suddenly picked up. We'll come to them. Shock of the weekend seemed to kick off the Western team's results. Well, for me, it was the shock of the weekend. San Jose went to Dallas and did a Whitecaps from about a year ago.
Yeah.
Came away with a 3-1 win. Vaco set the Quakes on their way in the 19th minute. Then Roland Lama tied it up 4 minutes later. Now, at that point, I'm thinking, Dallas, they're just going to go on, get the 3 points. They didn't, though. The Quakes, Jamir Haika, and then a second in the 88th minute from Vaco got the 3 points for San Jose.
Is this the start of FC Dallas's downturn this year?
Yeah.
Well,
does it happen later?
Yeah. I'm more concerned, is this the start of San Jose picking up? Because we play them twice.
No, I don't see that happening.
They've only had 3 wins all season.
Yeah. It's the first time they defeated somebody other than Minnesota in about a year.
Yeah, that's a fantastic
We play them
stat.
back to back.
Yeah,
we're going to lose both those matches.
Oh,
then we'll be out for
that.
sure.
Yeah,
if we lose those, then we're done.
Make sure to tune in for the preview for those losses.
Yes. I've got us down, which we're going to come to as to what I think we're going to be doing points-wise, but I've got 6 points from those 2 games, or 4 at worst.
They have to do 4 minimum.
Is it home and away?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. 4 is reasonable, I think.
Last game in August, first game in September. If we're still in it by that point. Anyway, that result probably isn't going to affect the playoff positions too much. Because San Jose isn't going to do it. Dallas, barring an amazing collapse, should pretty much be in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But a game which likely will, Seattle. We really have kick-started their season.
Yeah. And this game, it all happened late for Seattle too. Minnesota had this game, and they should have put this game away earlier.
Yeah.
It's good that we know that Robbo can give a team confidence, even if it's just the other team.
Yeah. 2 goals in stoppage time for the Sounders.
The second one was amazing. That's the only goal I saw, but it was a fantastic finish.
AFTN favorite, Will Bruin.
Yes.
Even if he was with Seattle.
He's a man's man, that man.
Him and Kei Kamara up front.
What could have been?
That's 4 straight wins now for Seattle. They're unbeaten in 7. This is the form you want at this time of the season. We're up and down, other teams are up and down. They're clearly the form team. They're 1 point behind us. They've got a game in hand. The only good thing was it kept Minnesota 2 points back.
Yeah.
They had been on a little bit of a resurgence. I think we killed that. We've kick-started Seattle. We've killed Minnesota.
It might not have been a good choice. It went the other way around.
Yeah, because Minnesota were going to fall at some point.
Another thing is the deuce wasn't even in the 18, apparently.
Yeah, I didn't know that till you just told me that off air. That was an interesting
Recording a rap album somewhere, maybe.
Probably.
The other thing about the Seattle and Whitecaps thing is the goal difference.
Oh, that's going to be
I
definitely
haven't
Seattle's
even looked
favorite.
at
Yeah,
goal difference.
no, you don't even-
Let me
you
get
don't
that
need to.
up just
The
now.
Whitecaps have -10, and Seattle are at -1.
You don't even need to look at it. You know this.
Yeah, because when the Whitecaps lose, they lose big.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Seattle, all their losses have been by like 1-0 or the 2-1 or something like that.
Yeah, RSL don't have a good goal difference either.
No.
It's -7.
Minus, don't say negative.
-7.
Anyway, that just annoys me when folks say negative. Sorry. Another shock, which maybe wasn't as big as San Jose's, but it definitely counts as a shock, was Colorado's 2-1 win over a Zlatan-less LA Galaxy. Zlatan pulled out of the All-Star game, which meant no Zlatan for Colorado.
Well, we're within 5 points now of LA because of that. We're 6 behind.
I can't see them going into free fall.
No, but you never know. They're another team that doesn't defend very well, and they have to score 2 or 3 goals in order to pull out victories.
Well, they took the lead in this one. Alessandrini had them in the lead at the half, and then Kellen Acosta, what a great addition he's been.
Yeah,
as baffling as we all are by how he's ended up in Colorado. But yet 2-2 games, 5 minutes after the break, and then the hero. If you want a hero, you have to look to a Scot. Sam Nicholson was that man. He won it in the last minute. It was good stuff from the Rapids, but it ends their winless streak, which this time was just 5 games. At least it's not as bad as it had been. It was 9 or 10 earlier. They're 14 points off the playoffs. They're not. Nothing's going to happen for them. Even if they win out, I think it's a impossible task for them.
Yeah.
But
you're talking about fireworks. How about the next game?
Whew, yes. Should have led with that since we're talking about fireworks.
Yeah.
Houston, SKC. Now, a 1-0 win for Houston on paper.
Doesn't seem like fireworks, but
I saw the result. I thought, read the recap. Oh, I have to watch a little bit of this. Yeah, SKC talking of snapping 5-game winless streaks. They did that. They didn't look fantastic against a Houston Dynamo team that finished with 8 men and had their coach sent off. That's Whitecaps-esque.
Yeah, that's the levels we aspire to.
Yeah, we want to get to that level. Dynamo went down to 10 in the 14th minute. Fouin Mayor, straight red, really clattered.
Yeah, but it didn't.
Casey's 16-year-old.
It didn't seem like a sending off type of hit.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's just because he went straight through him, though.
It is, and also the hit on the head. It was more like I can't remember the 16-year-old's name, but
Busio.
Yeah, he basically his head was actually more towards the Houston player and then it just.
I just think
back.
any big head knock's going to get a red card.
But it was
I think
not.
That might have been what the real change was.
Wasn't an elbow, wasn't a shoulder
No.
even. It was just a body on body hit. I think that was over exaggerated call there.
Then halftime, Wilmer Cabrero got sent off in the tunnel for arguing with referee
Probably
Chris
on that
Pencil,
because of that play.
Probably he doesn't agree with that. Then Diego Rubio gets the win in the 74th minute.
He was a substitute.
That's nothing, man.
He's substitute.
Yeah, although he did get an assist from the 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting these young kids. We've set the trend. Robo is a trendsetter, not just with his satanic dress either. Then Houston just lost the plot. They finished the match with 8 men. Darwin Serin and Albert Ellis was sent off in stoppage time.
Now, first of all, one of them, the VAR called down to get a review on it, and he wasn't able to review it because Houston...
the fans were just chucking tons of stuff, so he let the
which is why you don't put that review playing right at the end near the supporters.
I think Orlando's the other one that's got it in a really weird place in front
Vancouver,
of the fans.
it's in front of the south side as well.
No,
Yeah,
it's in front of the curva side.
Yeah,
it's a little bit further forward, but yeah, you
where
can
my
still
old
throw
season
things.
tickets were, I think on a good day I could get.
With the Rain
rest
City
of them.
Brigade in there, it's like there's every chance something could get thrown at them.
True.
Yeah, they do put it in really weird places. Halfway line.
The Ellis one, what they showed on TV, didn't seem like a sending off to me. It was more of a battering, like they bumped into each other more than any. There was no hands to the face. There was nothing like that. So I don't know. I don't get it. Some of these could be overturned, like the Martinez one was.
I mean, Houston's out of the playoff picture just now anyway. That's not going to help them. At least they play Columbus next week, because my immediate reaction was, oh my God, who are they playing next week? 2 weeks later, they play RSL. If that had been next week, missing all those guys, and then possibly 3 points to RSL, that would have hit us so hard. Mm-hmm. Now, RSL, disappointingly, got a win against Chicago, who, despite having Bastian Schweinsteiger, are pretty awful.
Yeah, good strike by him, though.
Yeah.
Nice goal.
He did get the Fire's
But their team
effort to draw them level at one point.
They're another team that seems like a good team, but they're not really having results
Chicago?
this year.
Yeah. TFC
on paper
beat them
they
twice, home and away. RSL's now beating them. RSL were taking the lead, and Basti scored just after.
They're second from the bottom of the East. So they're a team that coming into the year was supposed to be good, but nothing.
You can't see. Like I like their coach. He's great fun to talk to. He's not going to see out this season.
Yeah, no. Well, he'll see out the season, but definitely not next year.
He might not even see out the season. As soon as they're out the playoffs, that could be then when they pull the trigger on him.
I could see that.
Shame. But yeah, RSL, 3 minutes into stoppage time in the first half was when they took the lead. Then Basti tied it up. And then 15 minutes from time, guy that got the 2 goals, Damir Krejlash. That stopped a 3-game winless run for RSL.
Yeah.
We don't want them all of a sudden finding form because us and Seattle, I think, are the teams battling for that 6th spot. And I think Seattle's the favourites just now. But if RSL get the points on the board and you've got an informed Seattle, we're slowly getting pushed out the picture.
Yeah, but I think it's really... I know you probably don't expect it, but the only team that looks like out of touch is FC Dallas. Even Portland is only 7 points out, away from Vancouver.
They've got 3 games in hand.
I understand. The 3 games in hand, but they have to win those.
Yeah.
But the other teams, they got 2 games. Some couple of teams have even, like LA Galaxy and RSL with us. It's not out of the question. One of these teams...
No, we have to go on a run. Someone has to go on
but
a
do you have confidence that the Caps can pull a run together?
No, but I also have confidence that somebody's going to fall.
Yeah, I could believe someone can fall.
Yeah.
It's whether we can string the results
That's
together.
True, yeah.
Because Portland, they won comfortably 3-0 over Philly.
Yeah.
That was,
and you would think about, we have the game in midweek against Toronto.
Yeah.
Then there's next weekend's game. I can't remember who it's against.
That's Portland.
Yeah.
That's massive.
And
now.
if the Caps have a good game against Toronto, the first game, they're going to rest players for that Portland game anyway. That would be the right thing to do.
I honestly don't think they can. I think they have to run their full strength team for these 3 games.
Yeah, I think so too. I would say the reason they rested the injured and rested the players this week was in order to have that 3-game run for the.
I think so. But again, it's like New York. You are going to a Portland side. They've equalled their all-time record for an undefeated streak, which was, 15 games? 10 of them's wins.
Yeah.
They've given up 13 goals in those games. They're up to 2nd in the West, 7 points ahead of us, but they've got 3 games in hand. We're not going to catch them if we lose next week, no matter what.
I agree with you with Portland, but the other team, somebody could fall.
I just think it's massive next week. I don't think you can take your foot off that.
Oh no, you have to go into Portland.
You also want
for a draw
to stop them setting their all-time record of wins.
And it's a Cascadia Cup game too.
Yeah, and we haven't started that off great from Seattle.
No.
The last game of the weekend was today. Red Bulls 2, LAFC 1. Don't need to talk too much about that. What I do want to look at, the West is looking tougher and tougher now for the Caps. We've got 11 games left, so 33 points in the table. We're on 30 just now. We can get to 63. That might even win us the Supporters' Shield. I don't think it will this year, but it should win us the West. It's not going to happen. I can't see us winning out. It would just be absolutely amazing if we did. I think we need at least 48 to make the playoffs. Possibly 50-51. It's tough. It really depends who takes points off other teams. Look at who we've got left. Portland away, Red Bulls at home, San Jose home and away, Sounders at home, Dallas at home, Galaxy away, TFC away, KC at home, LAFC away, Portland at home. Now 7 of those games are against teams that are currently in playoff spots. You've got games against TFC and Seattle who are pushing to get in. They're desperate to get in, especially TFC. I think it's a hard run-in. Thinking realistically 14 to 17 points. That's me being optimistic, and that's not going to get us in the playoffs.
Yeah, looking at it in this context, it's going to be very difficult. Like math is kind of the last resort you go to when you're in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, if a team's getting relegated or something, all anyone talks about is, but you can't do that. It's a 6-pointer, that kind of stuff, right?
Mathematically safe.
Yeah, like I think the Caps will have done very, very well if they can get it down to having a shout with 3 games left. Like, that's all they can go for at this point. And that if they can get some momentum together, a positive spin in the playoffs, then that's the next kind of phase. But the first things first is, I think Robbo needs to target games to win.
Yeah,
and against key people. Yeah. So those 6-pointers like that we mentioned.
I feel like the home games are a must win. They can't drop a single point in the home.
I think
games.
there's 6 at home, so there's 18 points there, which
they have to go undefeated.
48.
And they need to. Because I was thinking before this game, it's 12 games in total. I was thinking 6 wins, and they need at least a couple draws. They've already picked up that draw now. So maybe 6 wins and 1 draw, 19 points. That might be
the
able to
only
help
thing with that. 2 of those home games are against Cascadian teams where we seem to shit the bed every time
they
got
to turn it around.
KC that destroyed us.
Yeah,
this New York one, I think, could be the season breaker. New York Red Bulls come a week after Portland, 3 days after we've flown back from TFC, hopefully with a Canadian Championship. You've got guys that's going to be dead on their feet, but that's a game you have to win. Win that, and then San Jose home and away. That could be 9 points in a row. That is massive.
They're a team in transition as well. They're going through a coaching change and things like that. They've put a couple of results together, but they're definitely not the same as the Red Bulls that we know and hate so much.
Yeah, they don't do great here.
Yeah,
they do get draws every now and again, which. Any points lost at home, as you say, would be an absolute nightmare.
Like, if they lose a game at home, they have to make that up with a win. So, essentially, I think they need 19 points going forward.
But do you think that because of the way we play away from home, very kind of negatively, if a few results do go badly, will Rob be forced into a tactical change in order to try and get a result away from home?
Yeah, I think so.
Going to have to.
Yeah. Well, especially the closer you get to the end of the year.
It certainly doesn't look like we're going to be making any additions in this window, barring some bizarre last minute.
When does it end, the window?
9th or 10th.
Oh, so similar to the EPL.
Yeah. It's a couple of days after. Yeah, because I didn't know the EPL had been brought forward.
Yeah, they voted on that last week.
But I think they're the only major European league that is doing that. All the other leagues are going to have a look and see how it goes, and then maybe do that as well. Which in effect means that there's 2 transfer markets. There's the transfer market that all the English clubs are in, and then there's the few days after where the English clubs are not in it.
Yeah.
And then so the prices for players in that period will go way down because English money will not be on the market.
There also could be some free agents kicking about, which might then benefit us as well, because we have picked a couple of folk up. You never know; someone might be out of favour, get some loan deal or something for the end of the season. But again, it comes down to salary.
Let's pick up Nosa for the rest of the year again.
Do we buy someone out and just get rid of them?
Is that an option with Davies' money to buy out a contract?
Oh, you can.
You can. You could do that with any money.
Yeah.
It's whether they want to pony up and just basically piss some money away, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, a little bit of fun to end this segment. We're pretty far into the season, about 3/4 of the way through. Who do you see making it to the MLS Cup out of the West, and who they're going to play in the East?
The East is Atlanta, I think, for me.
The East's looking really strong.
Yeah. For the last 2 or 3 years, it's been, or 2 years, I should say. Atlanta, I think, they're really formidable. Like, Joseph Martinez.
Theirs to lose.
Pretty much, but it's weird that we've seen teams be dominant during the regular season and then choke, like
New
Red
York,
Bulls. Yeah,
Red Bulls, that's a prime example.
Yeah. New York City would be a candidate as well, who I could see, playing such an irresistible style for a short period of time that they could make to...
An Atlanta and New York City Eastern Conference final.
That would be basically the final.
Game. Yeah.
It's quite often the case that the semi-final.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a lot of things. Like, we've joked about it in the past, but Atlanta do seem to be getting a hell of a lot of decisions, especially VAR decisions at home.
I think it's
as if it's like the chosen ones that we have to get this fan base to win something.
I think particularly MLS marketing, so their website and all the guys who work for some, like they literally work for some. It is without a doubt almost a truth that's accepted among people who use that media outlet. Like you could go you could go there on any given day and see, I don't know, 4 or 5 Atlanta United articles, and then maybe in the third section down, something that Michael wrote for for the Whitecaps, right? Like
that's getting rarer and rarer.
But you
once Davies goes, I'll have nothing to do on that site.
Yeah, but I think it's just,
yeah.
They everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it was
Atlanta.
TFC last year.
Yeah.
It's Atlanta this
and
year.
They're really. I can see their point
Back
of view
in the day
a way.
with Seattle and Portland all the time.
Yeah, it annoys me as a Whitecaps fan, but as if it's a marketing thing you're looking for, of course you're going to market.
But they
them
are
more
a quality
desirable.
team. I mean, you've got a guy like Joseph Martinez. It's just,
why would you write about Colorado and San Jose when you could be writing about this?
It's all the
but the thing
for
is,
them.
eventually Atlanta's going to go in not spiral,
Well, like
but
TFC this year.
They'll
There's
take
no
a slip.
TFC articles.
They'll slip in the fall because every team does.
But then you write about the dumpster fire that is Atlanta or whatever. Like there's still things.
Yeah,
to
you
write
get
about.
stuff out.
The people that you didn't write about before, they're not coming back to your site now.
No.
That's the thing.
I haven't listened to that MLS official podcast in almost a year.
Yeah.
Well, they hate the Whitecaps. It's
yeah, they don't have time.
Blatantly clear they've no time for us whatsoever.
I troll them on Twitter just for fun now, like because they are very touchy about that. Sometimes you can jab at them being like, "Oh, I can't believe you watched a Western Conference game" or something like that. Like they do get a little bit touchy about.
Well,
that
Matt
now.
Doyle had tweeted out something about players that could be traded. Kei Kamara because it was left out of the lineup this week. He was rested for God's sake for a cup final.
Matt Doyle is my favourite person to troll on Twitter.
It's very easy.
Yeah.
So out of the West, who do you think then? Is there?
Whether
they're competitive or not, who do you think is going to get out of the West?
I don't remember my Eastern pick, but I'm still going to go with my Western pick, which is Sporting Kansas City, even though they're kind of downward, but I think they might pick it up by the end of the year.
I could see that.
I could see Kansas or a wild shout for Portland. Just putting some results together.
Yeah, actually, Portland would be quite a good shout with what they're doing just now. If Seattle keep this run going as well...
Why don't we mention Dallas in this conversation? I'm
I don't
curious
know,
about that.
It's like the Red Bulls.
Yeah.
I just never feel they're going to do it in the playoffs.
In the East, I don't remember, like I said, I don't remember who my pick was, but I think what I'd like to see is Columbus get to the finals. And I just have that as and then obviously they'll probably move to Austin.
No matter what, Austin Bold.
And their emblem in the final will be the Austin one. Like they'll make it all the way, and then in the last game.
Anyway, we're going to be back in part 4 with some Kei Kamara chat and previewing the Big Voyagers Cup final on Wednesday.
Hi, I'm Jake Nowinski, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Get Away, Steve.
No, you get away.
No, you get away. That was Get Away by Saint Mattel. I've no idea who that is.
It came in my Spotify recommendations. I listened to it. I thought it was a good song.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
We split the music coming back from the breaks, if anyone's wondering. It's not just my stuff.
I think people can tell by the wavelength which ones are your songs.
Possibly, yes. Yeah, maybe.
Although sometimes I surprise you with my choice.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome back. You're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio. So in this part of the show, we're going to look at the Canadian Championship final. Before we get to that, just a couple of tweets we've had from Angus Walker, at Angus Walker on Twitter. He says exactly what we were saying about Bevan and Bear. They're the future.
Yep.
Why are we spending on a Blundell? We could be getting a 1.3 million striker, excluding the Fonzie money. Upgraded striker, better backup, more chance for youth, which brings more potential for Fonzie-type money. He says Tybert is worth 10 times Efren Juarez.
Yeah. Oh, 100. I agree with that.
You would. And
I think he's worth more than... I think he's better. I think I would rather have him than him, Gazal, even Much, honestly.
Much definitely won't be back next year.
No, yeah. I think he was just a one-year thing.
Made of glass.
Maybe Blundell, they could do is they could loan him back to Venezuela. Maybe he scores a bunch of goals in Venezuela, and then they can sell him off to somebody else.
Possibly. He also says Blundell's not young either. He's 24.
No.
That's only 3 years younger than Hurtado.
Yep.
I'm 24.
You're an old man now, according to Angus Walker.
Well, you got a kid too, so that makes you especially old.
Talking of old men, the old man of the team, Kei Kamara. Rested, because you need to rest the old guys. He will be good to go on Wednesday. But the burning question is, does he fancy a chocolate digestive? So Kai, you're at home at night. You're wanting a hot beverage. What would be your hot beverage of choice? Is it tea, coffee, or do you have something else?
When you go hot beverage at home, definitely tea. Definitely tea. I'm a tea drinker, and I loved actually when I was living in England. It was perfect because I get to have tea every night.
Black tea, herbal tea, chai?
More like lemon ginger.
Oh,
yes, lemon ginger, my favorite. I add a little bit of lemon again. It's a little bit of honey. That's
And are you a biscuits person?
No biscuit. No
so
biscuit.
You don't do any dunking.
I do a toast with Nutella on it.
Oh,
yes.
But you don't dunk that.
No, I don't dunk it.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive, even though it sounds suggestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive?
So, another player that doesn't want a chocolate digestive, but he does like Nutella on toast.
Which is chocolate, isn't it? Nutella?
Well, it's chocolate hazelnut spread,
I never really
yeah.
had it.
You've never had a digestive?
No.
Nutella on toast?
Yeah, Nutella.
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
I never had Nutella.
Oh, I don't like Nutella.
Really?
No, I don't like
lather
hazelnut.
it on nice and thick. Yep.
I did have some digestive during the show. Just was finishing off my nibbles that Wasted Sundays had given me. So again, thanks to Adam for that.
Yeah, they were good.
Mm.
Oh, I'm talking.
Yeah, you never had any of
Oh, I
those.
had the
shared
Belgian.
those
I
with
had the
Alan.
other.
Oh, you had the
yeah.
Belgian
Yeah, that was good.
stuff. Yeah. Oh, it's Dutch. Don't
Dutch.
say Belgium. He's
Dutch.
going to kill us. He gave us all the Dutch treats. So this part, we're going to be looking ahead to Wednesday. We've got Joe here. He's used to his previews. So we're going to have a quick look ahead to the Canadian Championship game. TFC played out an entertaining 2-2 draw in Atlanta.
Full squad.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. They took the lead. Well, it wasn't. Because watching and listening to the audio and the build-up to it, they said they basically have to try and win every game to make the playoffs now.
Yeah.
Which is a good goal to have. But they took the lead, they were pegged back, and then this could be massive. That stoppage time equaliser from Ricketts, it looked like they had lost that. They now get a point. It doesn't help them massively, but they are in a bit of a run. They're undefeated in 5 now in all competitions, 3 in a row in MLS, beating Chicago home and away, and now drawing with Atlanta. They're still not the scary team that they were last year, but they're definitely turned the corner.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see from a Toronto FC fan's point of view where they place the Canadian Championship. If you offer them a deal today, you'll make the playoffs, but you'll lose the Canadian Championship. Would they take that?
I think the vast majority would, and I think they would here as well. Like if you said to the Whitecaps fans, okay, you can win this and be in the Champions League next year, or make the playoffs, you might just have one game and be out. They'd still pick the playoffs. It's just a North American.
But the only thing is,
okay,
I don't think very many people have hope that they're going to make the playoffs. So
Vancouver fans don't seem to have hope, just in general.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, I don't think a lot of people expect them to make the playoffs at this point.
No.
So why not go after that?
If you offered me a deal that the Caps would win the Canadian Championship comfortably, and actually the trophy game is at the other place, isn't it?
TFC.
Yeah. My point is null and void now. I would have taken that deal if it was at home.
If you see a trophy presented at home, they've already started the season ticket renewal campaign. They've had the letters out already. They've not done the big 12% off push, but members have been sent emails about renewing already. Winning that, especially at home and getting the trophy, would have done wonders.
Yeah.
If they win it on the road, I don't know that it has the same impact.
Yeah. That game that they won the Canadian Championship is the only game my wife has ever gone to.
Oh,
so I have to explain.
She's got great memories.
Yeah, I have to explain to her there isn't a trophy every match. And Pa Muruka doesn't go around on his what's it called, hoverboard or something.
I need to clarify something I was told about Pa. He may no longer be at the club.
Really?
Yeah, he might have a new coaching gig.
Oh,
good for him.
Not too long ago, he was I saw him on the bench.
Yeah.
I'll check that out.
There's no announcement or anything like that. He's listed as a member of the coaching.
He was definitely at the last home game.
Yeah, and his kids and stuff are still here because
Yeah.
he was doing things on Instagram. But yeah, someone had told me that. Maybe it's later on in the year. Maybe it's FC Cincinnati. Maybe he's going to reunite with Alan.
That would be a good gig for him. They signed
Again,
Addy.
just speculating beyond belief here.
They signed Addy, who is a good friend of Ka. So, or would they have played each other? Played with each other?
I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah.
Big gap. Getting back to TFC though.
Yeah, sorry, I was just having happy thoughts about Cincinnati. Talking of Cincinnati, before we get back to TFC, I tweeted this out because we'd been talking about Cincinnati playing WKRP and talking about the show. I started watching it about a month and a bit ago on MeTV, KVOS.
Oh, I'm always like flipping around. I always catch it.
Yeah, I caught the end of season 3 and always season 4, so it's now back to the start.
Yeah.
So the pilot and the first episode's just been shown. So check that out. It really stands up today. It's fantastic.
My favorite episode is the one where Venus Flytrap tries to explain an atom to a gang member.
Oh, yes.
Trying to get back into school, and he's got the
that was on recently.
No good guys, I can't remember the nobodies, or I don't know what it was. I can't remember the specifics, but it was fascinating.
It's so
I learned
the stuff that they covered in that show was like incredible. Anyway, back to TFC. The stuff that they cover is not as incredible. They did play all their big guns at the weekend. I wondered what that would mean for Wednesday, whether it's going to be fringe guys. Greg Vanney answered that. Let's hear from him now.
Greg, you have Atlanta, Vancouver, New York, then Vancouver. It's a big stretch of games coming up. How would you define the next 2 weeks?
Important. Obviously, the league play is important. We want to pick up as many points along the way, and we have very good opponents who are either visiting or coming to town. Obviously, the Canadian Championship is a huge thing for us now that we're in the final and want to get back into Champions League. And I would add to that some of the travel that's in front of us is all stuff we have to manage again. It's a little bit of reminiscent of the beginning of the season, but we'll prepare. The good thing is that we're getting close to maximum sort of depth and access to everybody, which will mean that we can try to divide up the load a little bit and still try to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, you might approach it a little bit differently if you were at a different spot in the table. So does it complicate things?
I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing that we can, at this moment, sort of give away, if you will. And we've got to play every game for maximum points. I don't know if we'll get maximum points, but that's the mindset. And then, obviously, in the Canadian Championship, we have to go there and play smart and try to set ourselves up to win it when we return. We don't have to necessarily go to Vancouver and win it, so we can be intelligent in how we approach things there. And what that means, we'll see. But we always play these two-leg affairs to try to as a setup game and then a finishing game. And so we'll do the same thing as we approach Vancouver.
So there you have it.
That's tasty.
Yeah, he's going to be doing Vancouver in Montreal.
Yeah,
in Vancouver.
Yeah.
If the Whitecaps get a 1-0 lead in that, I think he'll be happy with that by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But that's why Vancouver has to take it to them and get that 3-4
They
goal lead.
have to go for
and
it.
then make TFC not even want to start their main guys in the second game either because they go, we have no chance.
Yeah, or be so violent that you don't want to risk anyone in this.
I think Efi Juarez has a good chance of playing, so we've maybe got that.
True.
I think, in all honesty, I think he will come in for this. I think it'll be him and
because
Felipe.
Gazal played midweek.
Yeah,
which means if he was
Tybert's played 2 in a row.
Yeah, so there's spots there, and he's one more game.
Yeah,
suspended.
he's missing Portland. So to me, Juarez and Felipe make sense. Yeah, running Felipe a little bit in the ground.
I don't like that combination. If I'm honest, you need someone a bit more conservative in there.
I would have Tybert and Juarez together.
I think that's
3 games. Oh, he is fit. But yeah,
they can always sub him off.
He hasn't played for months, so
they could sub him off with 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
something like that
Yeah,
too, right?
bring
put Gazal
on,
or one for the other.
David Norman, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if that's likely. As much as I want that to happen, I don't think it's likely.
I think we'll see more David Norman once they're eliminated from the playoffs or next year.
Yeah, I hope so, because it's like if they are out early with games to go, that's when you want to see Bevan and him and even Baldissimo.
Imagine if next year it's like the answer to all our problems was actually playing Blundell with David Norman Jr. Imagine if that's like the combination we didn't
that's
try.
What clicked.
Yeah.
But it does sound there. That was actually just before the Atlanta game. I thought it was after, but it was just before. But it does sound like Vanney, he's going to hope to try and get an away goal. He's going to try and frustrate Vancouver. He's going to play a bit defensive-minded, probably hitting the counter.
Yeah.
We don't do well against teams that do that against us, so that's a little concern. What are you expecting from the Whitecaps tactics then? Because if Toronto's doing that, are we just going to go for it, or are we going to play cagey?
No, they got.
Is this away goal going to loom too big?
They got to go for it because the thing is, if they decide to play cagey, they're not going to have enough time to. By the time you got to go for it in this fight. You got to put high pressure on them. If they do have younger players in the back, maybe they get cough up the ball and you get more scoring chances that way. I think you got to go after it.
I think the word game plan in Vancouver don't often go very smoothly together.
Yeah.
I think the best Robbo can hope for is putting his best players in positions to succeed.
Well, do you think it's going to be a full strength?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you play Davies, you play Reyna, you play Kamara.
You play Teixeira.
You play De Jong at left back and Nerwinski at right back. You have Waston.
If he's recovered from his little injury.
Waston and Henry.
Yeah. Marinovic in goal.
Yeah.
It's just that midfield, like all season long, we seem to be chopping and changing quite a bit. Like there was inexplicably when Felipe came in, Tybert missed out even though he seemed to be playing really well. Like we need to figure that out a little bit. Juarez has been disappointment doesn't cover really.
I know Felipe's done well, but since all this chopping and changing, he's dropped off.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel we're using him to his best.
I think
we can and getting the best out of him.
Whether it's Juarez, whether it's Felipe. I feel like they play best when Tybert's in there.
Yeah.
He seems to be the glue.
If you can get a three of Tybert, Gazal, and Felipe or Juarez, right? That would be ideal. But because you want to play,
then you kick out one of their attackers at that point.
And there's only
that
one
could be
or
the
two
second leg.
There's only one or two indisputed, starters in this team.
Yeah.
Like you Waston. Nerwinski's kind of is in that tier right now,
and Kendall's rested.
Even De Jong would be for me.
Yeah, I think so. And Davies and Kamara, like that's basically it. Reyna's
become that too now.
Yeah,
but like that midfield is so fluid, and I don't like it. I like a settled midfield that you can. People with defined roles that you can rely on week to do.
Yeah.
So you have the chemistry when you're making a pass. You know where the other guy's going to be all the time.
I think that is his plan down the stretch.
I think we're in this stretch.
See, Tybert is the only one who seems to work well with everybody.
Yeah.
And it was Juarez, the same when Laba and Kofi were here.
Juarez can't play with Felipe. It seems like I think from now on, if we look a little bit closer at those combinations, we'll be able to see which two people not work together but don't work together.
Interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good one. Hopefully, we might have a post-game preview podcast.
It depends on the timing.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, we'll be back with some more chat after this.
Hi, I'm Carl Robinson. You're listening to the AFTN podcast.
Welcome back. You're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio. Unfortunately, Joe has had to leave us for this part, so thank you for joining him. Give him a follow on Twitter at JoeDZVan.
He'll respond when he's not taking care of the baby.
Yeah. You might not know Joe had a baby, or you might know because he never stops mentioning it on the preview show. I'm only joking, Joe. I know you're listening on the way home, and your wife's listening as well. So, we're going to kick off this part with Wavelength. Yes, it's Wavelength time. It's my favourite part of the show. And I'm excited because we're kicking off Football Violence Awareness Month.
It never ends.
It kind of does, but it doesn't. But yeah, Football Violence Awareness Month. So we've got a great song. I'm wearing my special football violence awareness armband
It's good.
for this month.
It's nice.
You might not see it's just a little bit under my shirt. But
Oh,
it's,
okay,
it's,
gotcha.
it's right on my sleeve.
Yeah.
You probably missed it because it's covered by the sleeve. But
A little bit.
I'm actually wearing it.
But you probably prefer it that way.
Yeah, it makes more comfortable that way, I find. But anyway, for this first song of the month, we're going back to 1982, a band called The Last Resort from England, from their album A Way of Life, Skinhead Anthems. And this is Violence in Our Minds.
We met a stupid hippie who tried to run away. I punched him in the nose just to pass the time of day. Right big boots, great no laces, jeans held up by scarlet braces. Get out of our way, get to the right. We just got violence in our minds, we got violence in our minds. I strolled in a town, made a somewhat black and blue. Well, fuck, I'm in a bee, cause there's nothing else to do. Right big boots, right on laces, jeans held up by scarlet braces. Get out of our way, get to the right. We just got violence in our minds, we got violence in our minds. We got violence in our minds. Right big boots, right no laces, jeans held up by scarlet braces. Get out of our way, get to the right. We just got violence in our minds, we got violence in our minds. We got violence, our violence in our minds. We go to football matches, we always have a laugh. We always get some bothering before the second half. We really have a smashing time, we really have some fun, especially when the odds are at 21 to 1 to 1. Right big boots, great no laces, jeans held up by scarlet braces. Get out of our way, get to the right. We just got violence in our minds.
The Last Resort there, Violence in Our Minds, from the 1982 album A Way of Life. Enjoy that, Steve?
Yeah, I was bopping along with it.
Yeah. Anyway, before we get to BC Soccer Web headlines, I just want to say huge congratulations to Tommy Wheeldon and the Calgary Foothills. Brought the PDL Championship back to Canada.
You can see it back too, because it's fourth time now since 2008.
Yeah, I saw it when the last Canadian team won it in 2015 down in Seattle, KW United.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have gone to this game. If I'd been in Calgary, I was actually going to drive through to it. But it was out in Pennsylvania. Hard fought 4-2 win in extra time.
Both teams were down to 10 men.
Yeah, Chris Serban, former Whitecap player, got sent off in basically first half or second half stoppage time, which evened the match up.
But the other one was like late in the second half actually, wasn't it? Yeah.
Ali Musi.
Nice goal.
Yeah, 2 goals on the night. Former Whitecaps residency alumni, and
the first one was the free kick, and that was a huge goal.
Oh yeah, it was a really entertaining game, and full credit to Calgary Foothouse. Hope to have a chat with Tommy Wheeldon on tonight's show, but just didn't have enough time with him flying back and stuff. So hopefully speak to him during the week and maybe get him next week. Also talking about what that does for Cavalry FC, because that's going to set them up fantastic.
Oh yeah, they're the favourites right now for the next first year.
Got to be. But anyway, it's time now for BC Soccer Web headlines. BC Soccer Web Headlines is brought to you in partnership with bcsoccerweb.com, your one-stop site for local, national and international news and links. Make it part of your daily routine. Check out bcsoccerweb.com. What's been catching your eye on the site this week, Steve?
Well, another story on Nigeria. It never ends, it seems like. Before we talked about that Stephen Giwa had been placed back in the presidential role. They have control of the headquarters, but the Nigerian Federal High Court is refusing to the request to stop him, Chris Giwa, from taking over as president of the Nigerian Football Federation. They put, but Pinnick has possession of the headquarters. Pinnick is the one that got elected. Giwa feels like he's rightfully the president, and that will keep going on. It seems like forever.
Well, everything just seems to...
I think everybody's after the money for the kids, it seems like. Oh, okay, another follow-up, U.S. sanctions. Before we talk about Nike, now they're forcing Adidas to drop Iran sponsorship for the upcoming, or next year, Asian Cup. During the World Cup, they did supply them with the shirts, but apparently they weren't on sale for people to buy, which was caused a huge kerfuffle there. So that maybe, obviously that's going to be affecting them, and they're going to figure out what they're going to do. Big story, though, out of that broke early this week. World Cup 2022, Qatar bid accused of secret campaign to sabotage rivals. Now, it was a leaked documents that showed the bid team employed a U.S. PR firm and ex-CIA agents to smear the rivals, mainly the United States and Australia. They felt they were their main rivals for 2022. Here's some of the examples. A respected academic was paid $9,000 to write a negative report on the huge economic cost of American World Cup, which was then distributed to the news media of the world. Journalists, bloggers, and high-profile figures were recruited in each of the country to hype up the negative aspects of their respective bids. A group of American physical education teachers were requested to ask their U.S. congressmen to oppose the World Cup on the grounds that the money would be better spent on high school sports. And then grassroots protests were organized at rugby games in Australia opposing the bid as well. There were also intelligence reports compiled on individuals involved in the rival bids as well. That's obviously coming from the CIA, the ex-CIA people. Now, that's a huge story. But then on the weekend, just lately, Steph Blatter, in his new book, I think it's called My Truth, says that Qatar cheated its way to host the World Cup. And in it, he says that the members of the executive committee overlooked the advice that Qatar was not capable of hosting the World Cup and went ahead and voted to award the competition to them anyways.
Yeah.
He said the Qatar's upset one was a result of combination of rule-breaking collusion and a political pressure exerted on Michel Platini, one of the executive members for the FIFA. They said he was basically Platini actually told them that he'd been pressed to change his vote in 2010 when the French president Nicolas Sarkozy at that time and Sheikh Tamim bin Hamid Al Thani, now Emir of Qatar, and he says that the main company from Qatar has spent billions of euros in France on an aircraft contract and on buying Paris Saint-Germain since then. So that's a pretty huge deal. I wonder how much that's going to affect, if that will change anything before 22-2 happens, or is it just too late at this point?
I keep waiting for them to take it away from them.
Yeah.
But I mean, where would they play now? Because America was the ones that were done out of it.
Well,
and we're hosting it.
Because like we said before, America doesn't, the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, they don't have to have that much to
Yeah,
build.
I guess we
so
could
they could
bring it
move it
forward.
to 2022.
England would
You
definitely
could move
try
back
and
to
step
Scotland
in.
sooner if you
true,
wanted to.
Yes. I don't know that I want to now. It's really hot over there in the summers now as well.
And then 2026 goes to Australia, maybe. So that or Morocco. Or Morocco.
Give the little Moroccans it.
Yeah.
They deserve it.
Maybe something like that happens. Who knows?
Interesting. But I think the UK have said as well, because they were in for 2022.
Yeah.
They would be ready to step in and
That's
host
true
it.
too. Yeah, they would be ready in
Yeah.
22 or 2026, depending.
Mm.
An interesting thing about, and this is dealing with dissent that we talked about, sin bins to be enforced at grassroots levels from 2019 to 20 season. They will be continued throughout the 2018-2019 season. And apparently they've been going in the lower leagues in England, but there's going to be a further 61 leagues across 16 countries set to join the existing 31 that have adopted the practice. It's basically temporary dismissals for dissent, especially. For a 90-minute match, it would be like 10 minutes. For an 80-minute match, it would be like 8 minutes, something like that.
I like it.
And then it would be a yellow card too, in addition to the getting being kicked out for a bit. And then a couple of things that. They've said that records have shown that the sin bins have proved to a success in tackling dissent on the pitch. And then 25% of the leagues show an overall reduction in dissent. 38% show in reduction in dissent across all leagues. 72% of players want to keep it going. 77% of managers and 84% of referees. I don't know why 84% of referees wouldn't want it. I think it'd be 100%.
I like the idea. I mean, it works well in rugby.
Yeah, it does.
And, well, I mean, we've talked several times on the show about how the attitude shown to referees in rugby is just so much more respect. But I'd like to see it tried, maybe in a cup competition.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, I was thinking maybe if you want to do it this way, maybe you, by doing this, you, I don't know if it would work. There may be some people might think about it not work if the player comes out, but you still don't go down to 10 men or something like that right away. Like for example,
no, I think you'd have to punish them.
Not for the sin bin part. When you get your second yellow, you go out and then you keep, because rugby. I don't think do you get reduced to 10 men less. Oh, you do. Okay, yep. I didn't know that about that. So maybe I don't know. There may be some ways to work around it, so you don't have to be totally.
We could start new competitions as well as how many minutes will Effie Juarez spend in the sin bin?
Oh, that's a good point.
But I like it. I would like to see them try in a cup competition, FA Cup, League Cup in England, US Open Cup, Canadian Championship here. I think it would work, and I would really like to see it.
You talked about football violence earlier. Obviously, they didn't get the memo in Scotland. Rangers, they had a Europa League match. They won 2-1 on aggregate.
It's Rangers.
Yeah, they won 2-1 on aggregate, but there were additional brawls. It was a Croatian club they were playing, and there were many brawls. It was actually posted on social media, and there were 2 stabbings.
Yeah.
So they need to listen to the show.
Criticised though for not like the way that they were shepherding the fans kind of towards each other. It wasn't great.
U.S. soccer news, and including MLS. MLS is still ongoing talks with Columbus over plans. And Garber said this especially, should Crew move to Austin? He didn't say guaranteed, but I think he's been coached to say that. I'm assuming.
Big date coming up.
Yeah, Austin City Council has scheduled a vote for August 9th in order to determine if the city will accept the deal. With PSSV to build a private, and the PSV I think is the Precourt Sporting Ventures or something, not the Dutch.
It's not Eindhoven.
No, to build a privately financed 200 million 20-seat stadium at McCalla Place. But they mentioned also that the MLS Deputy Commissioner Mark Abbott is meeting with the Crew side, like city officials and stuff like that, to find ways to help them find the best solution, whether it's a new owner or something like that.
You know they're going to pitch, look, we'll do what we did with San Jose, we'll move the team,
and
then
we'll
give you a franchise in a couple of years.
I don't think that's going to happen, though. Not with and we'll talk about that in a bit. One team that seems like it's going to launch is Austin Bold FC.
Yeah. I think they got the name from the people that's been picking the names for the Canadian PL.
But at least they put Austin in front of it.
Oh, yeah, true. So I like that.
Marcelo Serrano is going to be the coach. They're going to be playing next spring at the club's 5,000-seat stadium. I think it's USL, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. They got already 3 players signed. Kleber from Brazil, midfielder Marcelo Sargosa, and left back Edson Brafhild, who played for Netherlands in the 2010 World Cup.
I also like the touch of the email that you sent me, that you actually sent it in Austin Bold.
Yeah. I didn't realize I did that. MLS expansion race. An interesting quote from Garber. We've had some interesting conversations with Phoenix of late. We're tracking very closely with our friends in San Diego, who didn't get the USL thing, but they're apparently two different groups.
Yes.
And they have a key vote coming up in the fall. The Sacramento bidders will be here, and they've come to the last number of big MLS events,
and left empty-handed and disappointed.
But he did say they remain encouraged on finalizing their capital structure. Detroit, Charlotte, and Las Vegas are also in contention for the last two spots.
Yeah, but he then also said that 28 may not be the final number, which was always going to be the final number, he said. Now it's like there's so many teams.
They could go up to 32 because you have two divisions of 8.
They're going to have to completely restructure how the season plays out.
I think they would, personally, other than TFC, I have a feeling they would love to go back in time and not give Vancouver or Montreal their franchises.
Maybe they'll make us an offer we can't refuse. You go join the CPL and we'll give you all this money.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah, it could be a transfer fee. So Forbes Mexico came out with their 50 most valuable clubs in the Americas. So that's including South America, Mexico, United States, Canada. The three factors were value of the players, excluding loanees though, brand value, and the stadium value if they were owned by the club.
Yeah,
which
some surprising.
Yeah,
results.
which this is number 3 part really surprised me especially when you get to one of the teams in here that we know of.
Yeah,
top 3 was Corinthians, Palmeiras,
and surprisingly for me,
LAFC. That's because the in the article they talked about how they own the stadium, they built it and everything, and their sponsorship with YouTube, which is one of the biggest companies out there.
And they've brought in decent players, internationals like Vela, that's at the World Cup.
Yeah.
And
other MLS teams, New England number 4, but that's because of the stadium again. It's an NFL stadium. It's owned by Robert Kraft, but I personally don't think the value of the stadium should go towards that much of them. But I don't think they made that determination. They feel like New England, because it's owned by the owner that owns the club.
The fact that they're fourth just immediately makes a mockery of this.
Number 8 is the Red Bulls. And I think that's a lot to do with their Red Bull kind of connection with Germany and everything. Number 12 is the LA Galaxy. 13, Orlando. 18, RSL. 22 is San Jose. 27, Atlanta, which I thought was really low. I thought they would be higher.
But they're playing in not their own stadium.
No, the owner of the stadium owns it.
Yeah, but they're going to be moving into their specific.
Oh,
gotcha. So maybe they're looking at it that way because they know it's not their permanent home.
That's why I thought New England was going to be the thing.
But that is their permanent home. For now.
Number 30, Vancouver, which I was surprised about because they don't own their stadium.
We are so close to being a top 25 club in the Americas.
32, New York City FC. 33 is Seattle. 37, TFC. 42, Columbus. 49, Portland. I'm guessing
we are ahead of all our Cascadian and Canadian rivals.
I'm guessing there's something wrong with this because of Vancouver.
Are you sure you're reading this in the right order?
No, I was surprised when I saw Vancouver because I was just expecting because it was I just searched the Control F US, right? And I saw all the teams. Then I saw all of a sudden out of the corner of my eye, I saw Vancouver at 30th. I go, what are they doing here? I didn't expect them to be in the top 50, but they must know something we don't. Atlanta. Miami has hired their first GM. We talked before. It is Atlanta's former vice president, Paul McDonough. USL is announcing that they will expand to 33 weeks while staying at 34 games to avoid more midweek games.
Which is good because it's a killer for clubs.
Oh, I know. Remember WFC2, the midweek games? They were horrendous.
Yeah. The weekend ones were bad enough, but yeah.
Whitecap Target. Justin Merrim is going to rejoin the Columbus Crew. He'll be there for a bit before they move to Austin. From Orlando. $750,000 in TAM, 2019 international slot. He was traded for $1,050,000 combined TAM and GAM, and he's only got 1 goal, 3 assists in 17 matches. Hasn't been in the 18 for the last 5 games.
If that was his value, I am glad the Whitecaps didn't go for him. I was a fan of his. I would have liked us to have tried to make a move for him in the off season. He's not worth giving that up. He's struggled in Orlando. Yeah, he may refine his form back in Columbus, but that was too much. The Whitecaps were right not to go to that.
And a former Whitecap who might lose his spot if this rumor comes true, DC United is talking about bringing Bill Hamid back. Stephen Goff reported on Friday evening, citing multiple sources. And obviously, like you said, the transfer window closes on August 8th, so it'll be interesting. He's playing in Norway right now.
Well, it could be as well. Usted maybe wants to head back to Europe himself.
Oh, so maybe he's giving him a heads up? Okay. Maybe it'll be a player-for-player swap. Some news from local news, actually.
This was nice.
Long-lost BC Soccer trophy found in a garage. It's called the Mainland Cup. It was basically awarded from 1914 to 1947. It was basically the unofficial, official trophy for the top team in BC. It was found in a garage of BC Soccer legend Dave Fryatt, who found it in the late 50s or early 60s used as a planter in a garden. Which is odd that
it was all tarnished.
Yeah, it's still not in great shape, but I think it's gone into it's been donated to the BC Soccer Hall of Fame now.
There's been a couple of soccer trophies that have been missing, so this is one of them that's been recovered.
Yeah. Canadian. A couple of news on Canadian players.
Yeah.
LAFC Mark Anthony Kei, you were talking about him last week. He's out 4 to 6 months after ankle surgery.
Yeah, it looked such a bad one when it happened. Feel really sorry for the kid. He's had a great season since moving from Louisville.
All but one game, and he's had like 2 goals, 5 assists, and he was even mentioned when they did the starting lineup today about how badly he's going to be missed, and other players are going to have to fill in for him in the midfield.
We had a good chat with him earlier this year as well. I just feel so sorry for him.
Kyle Larin of Besiktas has notched a hat trick in the Europa League win. Sorry, he did defeat a Faroe Islands team, so they beat him 6-0. So, but still,
B36 Torshavn.
It's good to see them for him to get.
Well, it's confidence. Yeah,
exactly. Last topic we're going to talk about. We'll finish off with Alphonso Davies. There's an article about Octavio Zambrano, who coached him in the Gold Cup last year, and he mentioned how Bayern Munich got a bargain for Alphonso Davies. He said his best years are ahead of him. He has so much more in the game. I think they got a superb player for a deal. He says he thinks that Alphonso's 3 to 4 times worth more than what they got for him, which is huge.
Yeah.
He goes,
I don't think he's worth 3 or 4 times 22 million.
Yeah. I think he said that once he gets to those tools, like strengthening his right foot, crossing, and timing of his runs, and once he perfects all that, he's going to be an amazing player. He goes, it was interesting.
They're paying for
the
once
potential.
He perfects, because he may not perfect.
That's true. We mentioned about the Gold Cup last year. He goes, it was interesting to see him bombarded by the limelight during the tournament. You could see the buzz. There were agents, there were scouts from different teams around the world in the lobby itself. And I think he got a bit overwhelmed, but now that he's been through it, he can handle it. And do you think that possibly had to do with not just an injury, but it was a lot of that that bear down on him when he came back to Vancouver? Because remember, he had that tough spell coming back from the Gold Cup.
Maybe, yeah, because he did have a lot of attention. I mean, he got so much attention on him as well during the All-Star week as well. Don't know how many interviews the poor guy did, but seems to have handled it well.
There's some stupid questions that have been asked of him too.
Well, I've been watching a lot more audio from around the league. There's some pretty stupid questions getting asked all over.
Yeah, well, there was one question. You and Mbappe have the same speed in FIFA 18 or FIFA 19 or something like that. If you guys had the ball at the center and went at the same time, who would score first? How can you determine that? It's depending on where you shoot from. Is it an empty net?
That's true.
It's a dumb question. At least you should have said who gets to the end line first, but you said who scores first.
When I was listening to the TFC audio, they were speaking to Jonathan Osorio. One of the questions was, tell us about your hair. I should have played that because I was like, what the hell? Some of the questions, though, to the TFC players and coaches were very baffling.
Yeah.
But anyway, on that note, let's wrap up for this evening. Thank you for being with us for the last 2 hours. We hope you have enjoyed the show. Looking forward to Wednesday's game against TFC. Always nice to have a cup final midweek under the lights, albeit in a big closed stadium, but still under the lights. Just before we go though, Steve, let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at WhitecapsBeat.
Joe Deasy left us to be in a better place. Richmond.
Take care of his baby.
Yes. And you can follow Joe on Twitter at JoeDZVan. Zachary Adam Meisenheimer is not with us this evening. He's also in a better place. I don't know where, but he's gone away with his wife anyway. And you can follow him at ZacharyAM. Follow me on AFTN Canada. Read our stuff, aftn.ca. Give us a follow on Instagram at AFTN Soccer. So until next time, thanks for listening. Take care. And mon the Caps.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.
10 minutes left, yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers, away from the numbers.